Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today I thought we would make a Mother's Day card. Time is running out. We need to get to our Mother's Day cards as soon as possible if we are going to get them mailed. And I am loving this. So we will be using the Spellbinders press plate, the Spring Magnolias, but we're not pressing today. Today I decided to hot foil, and this set comes with the hot foil plates and the coordinating dies, which is really nice. Also for the sentiments. I love it when you get sentiment dies. It just makes everything so much easier. So I will have everything listed and linked in the description below. Plus, if you go over to my blog, I will have a lot more photos. So I did already hot foil this, and I used my hot foil plates, and the color of foil I used is pewter. And this was super simple. I didn't think I needed to show you how to hot foil because we have done it before, and it is pretty simple. So let's go ahead and start. I've got everything all hot foiled. Now I love this color, the Magnolias. I Googled what color are Magnolias, and everything was really light. They were white and a cream color. There was one that was a little bit purple. I showed this to my husband and he said, well, it doesn't look like your usual. It's too plain. The colors aren't bright. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to do this one in purples. I've got my Copics. I will have the colors listed. Please give me a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. I'm doing basic coloring here. So I've got my lighter color, BV31, and I'm just kind of flicking. We're not going to color the whole image. We're just going to do little flicks with our lighter color. We're kind of just adding some color to it. We don't want it saturated in color, not the whole thing, just little flicks. So we're going to do that with all our flowers. And it's pretty simple. Please make sure to go and watch my video from last week, the washi tape video. I will be doing a drawing for that and sending out that card to somebody. And the drawing for that will be on May 5th. So please go over and watch that and leave me a comment. My views and my comments have been way down lately. Even on Instagram, I don't know what's going on. Everything just seems to be really low. I know I don't push myself as much as I should. I'm not a big social media fan, so I don't post every single day like I probably should. It just seems kind of, I don't know, it's such a time consumer. And I would rather spend my time doing other things, but I think I need to start pushing a little bit more. So we're just doing little wispies, nothing fancy. We don't need to color the whole thing all the way to the edge. Magnolias are very shaded. They're not solid, at least from the pictures that I saw. So that was our lightest color. Now we can come in with our darker purple, which I have as BV02. And I'm just going to color in the highlights. So there we've got all our highlights added, and now we need to do our leaves. So for my leaves, I didn't like any of my Copic colors, so I found some good greens in my Tombow markers. I've got P158 and P177. I am going to start with my lighter green, and I am just going to color in my leaves and then add a little bit of highlight with the darker color. So there we've got all our coloring done, which came out really nice. I think I'm liking that light purple on there. So now we just need to die cut. I've got all my dies here. They cut out pretty darn close to the image, which is really, really nice. So I will go ahead and get all my images cut out. Okay, so now that all of our images are die cut, we can go ahead and move on to our background. So for my background, we will be using the Honeybee Stamps Vintage Flora, and I just love this. This is so pretty for a background. So I'm going to bring in my cardstock. We're starting with 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is a red rubber stamp, so I took my foam mat out of there, and I'm using Olive from Pink Fresh. Now this was a little bit darker than what I wanted, so what I'm going to do is we are going to stamp off. I thought about using the lighter green, I believe, which is pear, and it was more of a fluorescent-y color. I didn't want that. I wanted to maintain the richness of the olive, but just not have it be so dark. So we're going to ink that up really well, and then just bring in a piece of paper and just stamp off, just to get a little bit of that ink off. And then we can bring in our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to try to place that as straight as I can on that line so the image is straight. I'm not even going to use any glue or anything to hold that down because we're not stamping again. I just want a nice little bit lighter green, and I think that's perfect. That's still a little bit darker than what I would like. Let's try another one and see if that, see how we like that. Let's see what we get with a 3rd generation. I may like the 3rd generation a little bit better because that's still pretty dark for me for what I wanted. I do like this generation better. You can still see the image, but it's not quite so dark. We've got a little bit of variation with the green. It's darker in some areas and lighter in some. I think we will go with the 3rd generation. I'm really liking that one. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4. We've got our panel all cut. And then I also did a frame. We are using a frame so that our images are popped up a little bit and to give it a little bit more detail. So for my frame, I used my Spellbinders Essential Duo Lines Glimmer Rectangles, and I used the second from largest. I hot foiled that in the pewter also, and I cut that out. So in order to cut that frame out, I brought in my Hero Arts Infinity dies. I hope there's not a glare on that. My Infinity dies, and I used the 4th and 6th largest for that. I just found one that was the perfect size to trim it out and then also to cut the center out. So that's what I did there. And now we can just attach this to our panel. I've got some foam tape back here, and what I like to do is just lift 2 corners. That way I can place it. I don't know if you heard that or not. That was the ice maker. That way I can place it. I just fold over those 2 corners. I bring that down and center it on my grids, and then I can kind of eyeball it. So you know what? I'm going to get my head in there. I just eyeball it like that. And then I will take my corners. I will push down. I think that's straight. We're going to go for it. I will push down on the corners that have the tape removed. And then I can just pull out the release papers. And it is perfect. Well, sort of perfect. I really don't think anybody will notice except for me. There we go. That looks pretty good. I like that. So now we've got that on there. And now we can attach this to our card base after we figure out where we want our flowers. So let's get some foam tape behind these. And I am just kind of eyeballing it. What I'm doing here is I'm looking where I want this, and then I'm going to put foam tape in the areas that will not be obstructed by the frame. So I've got a little bit of foam tape up here on this flower so it doesn't hit the frame. We can put a little bit down here. Just like that. And then we can add foam tape under that whole big area right there. Then we can do the same with our bottom flower. There we've got our foam strips on there. We can attach that piece. And then I'm just going to kind of fluff this up a little bit. I do like to fluff up my flowers just a little bit for a little added dimension. We can just kind of get our fingers underneath those and fluff them up a little. And this flower I glued directly down to the card panel, and I'm just going to tuck that right underneath, just like that. Then we can do our sentiment. Our sentiment is going to hang over our flower, so I am going to look at it, and when I place my foam tape, I am going to kind of miss the M, because I'm going to have that M hang over the flower. So let's get some foam tape on the back of the flower, some foam strips. I love these foam strips because they are not real thick. I want dimension, but I don't want too much dimension. I don't want it to be so tall that it doesn't fit in the envelope or that it costs more money to mail it. So let's bring in our tweezers. We can figure out where we want to place our flower. And I kind of want it like that, I think, right about in there, because we are going to bring in our sentiment and also attach that. And I'm going to kind of use these lines here to guide me to make sure that I get my sentiment nice and straight. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? I love that. That came out so cute and it was so easy. I think it probably took me 10 minutes to do the coloring. It was basic coloring and really very, very simple. So I've got my card base here. Let's add a little bit of foam to the back of our panel. Now we can add this to our card base. And because we used liquid glue, we can move that around to get it nice and centered. Bring in our bone folder, make sure that crease is nice and sharp. And that's perfect. That is so cute. All we have left to do is embellish. This came out so easily. I've got little pieces all over. Okay, so let's figure out what we want. On my cream card, I used Spellbinders blush. This is Fashion Blush, but because we changed it up to purple, I think we will use the white. You know what? And I wonder, I bet we could color these just like we color other embellishments. Let's try our lightest. It does give them a little bit of color. I kind of like that. Let's color a few more. I wonder if we should use the darker. Let's try the darker purple. I mean, I can see it, but you may not be able to. Oh, that's going to be perfect. Just color your pearls to match your image. I don't usually use the really large pearls. I like the small and the medium. Let's get these attached. And we are done. That came out so pretty and it was so simple. And I love using my press plates to hot foil. It just gives it a totally different look. So also to go with my card, I hot foiled on my envelope. And I think that just gives it a really nice finishing touch. Isn't that pretty? Your envelope matches your card perfectly. And I think my adhesive here is pretty good. Even though it went through the hot foil machine, I probably will add a piece of tape right there just to give it a little bit more security, just to make sure that it doesn't come up. But I am loving that. That is so pretty. So like I told you, the cream was my first one, and my husband thought that was boring. So I did a rainbow. Well, we finished a rainbow. Here's our purple. And I did a blue and a green and a yellow and an orange and a pink. So you can do any color you want. You can customize these for your recipient, whatever your recipient's favorite color is. I know it seems like I have a lot of Mother's Day cards, but that's because I also send cards to my friends that are mothers, just telling them that I hope they have a wonderful day. So please give me a thumbs up, please comment, please share. Like I said, I need to get my videos out there a little bit more. Everything seems to have slowed down. Thank you for spending time with me. I will see you later. Bye-bye.